free speech is very important, of course, in his lyrics, and because a lot of the lyrics might have been forbidden in some countries.
Possibly, I didn't even think about that, but you might be right about that. Yeah.
I don't know exactly, but
Yeah.
it's way before my time.
Well, he definitely was very counterculture, and he wasn't just critical of the institution, but he was also critical of people that were critical of the institution that may or may not have been critical enough of the institution. Like he's definitely his own trip.
So he's an example for you?
I mean, growing up, I didn't really listen to a lot of the Dead Kennedys. It's more later in life. It's actually, the first time I listened to the Dead Kennedys was after I was already in System of a Down. So I was already doing my stuff. And a lot of people say that they kind of see certain similarities and stuff with our music, which is cool. But I didn't really listen to them before then, even though they existed, you know. I came into like modern music pretty late in my life. I started out with very much like folk and world and you know, 70s and 80s music before I got into rock and metal and hip hop and, you know, everything else. Yeah.
Even though you were in a metal band?
No, I mean I started getting into metal before I was in a metal band, obviously, but it's throughout the late 80s and 90s that I really got into rock and metal, not when I was younger, you know.
And you just talked about not being critical enough, what Joey said. And now you're, of course, I've done a lot of interviews with a lot of artists around the world. Well, actually, all when they came to Amsterdam, but and all of them are very critical of Bush and of the administration. But they're just writing songs about it. They're not doing anything. But you have your own axis of justice. So that's, I think you really have listened to that idea of that you have to do something yourself.
Yeah, I mean, you know, music is an amazing vehicle that connects us and inspires us, and in my belief, it comes from the universe. It doesn't come from the individual. It comes from collective consciousness, and if collective consciousness is a vehicle toward the truth, then poetry and music have to be reflective of that for it to be inspiring of our times and reflective of our times. And to me, that's what poetry and music are. I'm not saying that music or poetry have to be necessarily socially or politically viable. They could be love songs. It doesn't matter. They just have to be truthful, you know, and collectively truthful.
But do you think you have to do something outside of music if you really want to do something?
That's up to the individual, obviously, you know. Some people are more activist-oriented, like myself or Tom Morello or Saul Williams, or, you know, there's a group of friends that I have, Zach De La Roca, and, you know, there's a group of friends that I have within the music community that are very, not just, they speak and they do and they participate and they put their money where their mouth is, and I respect that, but I also respect other musicians that follow their own vision, that are amazing songwriters or amazing, you know, positive people that create positive change are all one. It doesn't matter whether they're political or not, is what I'm trying to say.
Have you ever had discussions with other bands while you were on tour about subjects like that?
Yeah, I get a lot of people coming and talking to me about things because I think they know what I do and they appreciate it, and I appreciate a lot of what other artists do as well. So we get together and we're like, hey, I really like that song you wrote, or I really like that activity that you're doing, or I really like, you know, I was on the phone, I won't name who, but in a major band, and he called me about activist stuff. He's like, I really want to get involved, I need to talk to you, you know. And it's a great thing. I think it's a great thing to, you know, have that community of friends within the music community and art community. And this is how a lot of great movements, I don't want to say started, but, you know, in the 60s and, you know, 70s, I mean, a lot of art movements, a lot of music movements started with that clique of artists. If you look at the beatnik poets, for example, in the 60s, it was this clique in New York, and, you know, it's that kind of stuff that I'm really into, like creating movements and being part of that. It's fun, it's liberating, it's beyond yourself artistically.
And your commercial success obviously helps a lot doing that.
Yeah, I'm very grateful for what System of a Down has achieved, and what I've been privy to be able to make a living off of what I like to do, and I'm in that sense